All right, Gerald, and it's interesting that you mentioned Andrew being the strongest storm to hit the U.S. since then. Andrew was a Category 4 when it hit, and then subsequent research actually indicated that it was a 5, and so it was added to the list, the small list of Category 5 storms that have ever hit the U.S. The only other two, Camille back in 1969 and the Labor Day hurricane of 1935 back before they were naming them. And so it'll be interesting to see, with this one having been right on the cusp of Category 5, if anything research-wise indicates that it attained that status. If it does, it would only be the 4th one in history to ever hit the U.S. All right, let's go on ahead and take a look at the latest numbers. 140-mile-an-hour winds. Of course, the weakening, quote-unquote, has started, but still, when you've got 140-mile-an-hour sustained winds, even over a small area, if you're in that area, obviously it's a huge deal. Now, here's the forecast track by 8 o'clock this evening, getting into southwestern Georgia, and then you can see the winds really tapering off as we head into South Carolina at 8 o'clock Thursday morning and then 8 o'clock tomorrow evening. The storm will start to interact with the frontal system and will start to gain some energy from that process. And so you notice the winds actually go from 45 to 50, and there may be some wind gusts in the 40 to 50 mile an hour range around here for a few hours, and that combined with the wet soils could cause some power outage issues. But look how quickly this thing speeds away by Friday morning, well out into the Atlantic, and it looks like Friday we'll be able to enjoy a lot of sunshine, and hopefully we won't spend all of that time in a cleanup process, but we're going to have to keep an eye on that. Now, in terms of power outage potential, this looks really, really bad, like there's going to be widespread power outages across the area. It is impossible to tell exactly what the threshold is going to be for wet soil and wind gusts and the combination thereof. It could very well be that the heaviest rain falls in areas that don't experience the strongest winds. So I don't want you to look at this and assume that we're going to have hundreds of thousands of people without power. We're looking at that potential, but it's way too early to be talking specifics on that. If it does indeed occur, it would start occurring during the day tomorrow and continue into tomorrow night. Now, Mike Mays has more on some of the other local impacts around here. Mike?
We're going to talk about watches and warnings, and still right on target what we've been talking about for the past couple of days to expect for Thursday. The entire viewing area under a flash flood watch. We'll see heavy rains, 3 to as much as 6 inches of rain is possible. Could lead to some moderate river flooding, which we'll outline within this 4 o'clock hour. And of course, still the tropical storm warning in effect for the counties highlighted in red, which includes Lee County, Harnett County, Johnston County, Wilson County. The sustained winds 20 to 30 miles per hour, gusts 40 to maybe 60, and there will be some power outages all out of all this. So our local threats, possibility of limbs and trees coming on down with those strong gusty winds. There will be some flash flooding in spots. The isolated tornado threat will be more south and east of the track. We're going to outline that coming up in just a few minutes, and the end result could be some scattered outages due to the heavy rain and the gusty wind. So yes, we're going to have impacts. We will have tropical storm force conditions across much of the area through the day tomorrow. The time frame we're talking about is from 8 a.m. till about midnight, and then Friday looks superb. We're going to talk more about that in the weekend forecast coming up in a few minutes.